Amazing. So, welcome everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of the Wake Up Call with Retrain with Tremain. So, the podcast which I have started here is basically to help shake you out of autopilot. So, the aim of the podcast is to speak to many different individuals who have done incredible things in their life and to really find out their mindset, their behaviors, their actions, and what they do throughout the day and how they got from where they are or from where they were to where they are right now. And anyone who's done anything incredible has had to go through some sort of adversity, some sort of difficulty, some sort of hardship, and had to come out the other end. So the idea of this is for you to really understand their mindset, what they get up to in their day-to-day life, and just find out another point of view and take any of these insights and apply it to your day-to-day life. So with that being said, I want to introduce my very first guest on the podcast, which is Kai Beard. So thank you very much for joining, Kai. To give you a little bit of a backstory, me and Kai met around about 2 years ago, and Kai's an incredible man. All right, Kai's the founder of the Bada Group, and that's a company that helps businesses that lead new clients through high impact events, business to business, B2B lead generation, social media marketing, and online pre-sales. So when we first met was in London, and you were living in Stockholm in Sweden, and now you've finally relocated over to Dubai and you're absolutely crushing it over there. You've created a six-figure business from nothing and you're literally living the dream over in Dubai. So exactly the reason why I wanted you to come on to the podcast, because we've had a conversation before. I know a little bit about your backstory and the adversities you've come over in your life, and I would love for the guests and those listening to really get a deep dive into your mind, your philosophy, how you overcome adversities, and everything to do with Kai. Okay, so welcome to the Wake Up Call, Kai. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. What an introduction. That is, thank you.
You're
I'm
more
glad
than
to be your first guest.
Thank you so much, mate. The first of many, first of many. So
Inshallah.
let's take it back a little bit to the start, mate. If you could give us a little bit. Obviously, we didn't start with you in Dubai. Something led you to get there. Can you give the audience and the listeners a little bit of a backstory to your past, where you started from, and how you got to where you are right now?
Yeah. So a little bit about my past. Look, I think one of the things that have helped define me as a person were the struggles that I went through when I was, a young kid. I think that's what kind of made me, quote unquote, tough, gave me the minerals, so to speak. But it also made me think outside the box. It got my entrepreneurial cogs turning from a young age. I had like a lot of trouble in the house, and there was like a lot of resentment towards like my mum and what was going on, situations, and I wanted to be nothing like. At 14, I went home one day and I was like, look, the kids are taking the piss out of me about my trainers. We did not have any money. I lived on a council estate. Mum was on benefits, but I didn't understand that at the time, right? That we had no money. And she was like, when I asked for the new trainers, she was like, if you fucking want something, go fucking earn it yourself. And that was a really pivotal moment for me because actually it was like a light bulb went off in my head. And I was like, why don't I go and earn something myself? There's nothing stopping me. And I always wanted to escape the house because, there's a lot of very, very intense, uncomfortable situations happening. And it just always made me want to be elsewhere. I always wanted to be abroad. I always thought that I would go live in Australia, and I'd get like an Australian girlfriend and I would be like, living on the beach and whatever. But that just really pushed me to, work. When I was 14, I got a paper round. And then when I was 16, I quit college. Well, I just started college, went into full-time work. And and then from there, it was really just about trying to figure out how to do things. And I had a lot of shit situations, a lot of shit situations. But anyway, I started my first business when I was 18. While I was still working, I was still boxing, and I was still doing a lot of things. I had like a lot of there was just a lot of shit situations going on. And when I was 19, 18, 19, I moved out. I was in a very, very very bad relationship with a girl that was 10 years older than me. She was trying to get me to do like all sorts of shit, like really bad shit that I just was not with. But I weren't really earning like great money, and she wanted me to be able to earn good money while kind of providing for. And sorry, puppy is right next to me, and
Yeah, for those who don't know, Kai just has a new little puppy, right? How old is it's a girl, right? It's a she.
yeah, she's 11 months, and she dropped a ball on the plug socket and came out. Well, yeah, and so like essentially, I'm going into details here, but essentially, it was just a lot of tough situations, like time after time, because when you have so much stored up frustration, anger, ambition, drive, it can lead you into places that you don't want to be at first when you don't have knowledge of the world. And I was very, very innocent when I was younger, and I was very naive as well. And so I just went into the world, 16 years old, and just, yeah, I'm going to do stuff. And I used to think everyone was a great person and everyone thought like how I did. But, that's not how the world works. And, I had some of my toughest times around the age of, I had some of my toughest time. Are you going to edit this one? Or
No,
is it just
it's gonna
straight
be raw,
clean?
bro. Yeah, it's gonna be raw.
Yeah.
Get out there.
Can you hear, can you hear my puppy? Can you hear her
Yeah, yeah,
or
it's all
not?
good, mate. Don't worry. It's gonna be raw. Just go with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that. And so yeah, 2018 was some of my like toughest times. Like I was depressed. I went up to like 110 kilo. I was like, it's the first time when I really first had any kind of mental issues, and that's when I started believing in mental health. Because growing up in a house where you're told people with mental health, they're just attention seekers. Like you don't believe. Sorry, I want to go.
Okay. So almost like having a little child, right?
Literally, her ball went under the bed, and she can't get it herself. And so where was I? I was talking about going into the world and
Yeah, that you were
being
naive,
naive.
that you were naive and mental health and
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is when I first like was like, wow, mental health's real, because the things that were going on in my brain were fucked. Like honestly, it was just like, like I'm having thoughts like, oh, like I don't want to live anymore. Like I want to die. And like maybe I should just kill myself. What's the point in living? Like all of these thoughts going on in my brain. And I'm just like self-sabotaging like massively. And like I won't go into like mad details, but it was just like a crazy period of life. And so that's really when I hit rock bottom. But the journey from then was about me then, okay, getting myself back on track. And I was so scared about the place that I was in, because I was in such a fucking mess financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, and it was just super chaotic. And so it was about then like picking myself up and rebuilding myself. And that was a whole journey. Like it's taken me such a long time to piece myself together until now, to where I feel like I'm really strong in myself and almost unbreakable. And
can I ask you,
you know,
Kai, what was the wake up call? What was that moment? You said that you were depressed, that you were having suicidal thoughts. What was that one click, that moment that you thought of, so this is enough, I'm changing? Was there anything specific that happened, or yeah, talk us
it
through a little
wasn't it
bit.
wasn't it wasn't so much of like a realization. It was more like I had to because I had an apartment. Sorry, bro. I had an apartment. Sorry.
All good,
I
dude.
had an apartment, I had a car, and I was looking after a dog at the time, and all of that went. I lost my job, lost my apartment. Guys came and picked up my car because I was missing the payments. Had to sublet my flat. Like I was a complete mess, as well as how I was myself. But nothing was like, oh, I need to change. Like I never wanted to be in that situation. Like there was a lot of things that I felt were out of my control and were happening to me. Um, and it was a very difficult situation to navigate. And so to answer your question, like what was the pivotal moment that really was like, oh, I need to change? It's like there wasn't one. I was always trying to change myself and be better. It's just that my actions had led me into such a shit situation. It was just very difficult. And I remember I sat in my apartment and I just saw that everything was just smashed up and terrible because I got robbed. Side note. And
Yeah.
I just sat there and I just cried. And then I was just like, okay, just have to get on with it. And I've always been very independent. So to answer your question, there was no kind of pivotal moment, but I was just always like, okay, I'm gonna get myself out of this. But there was a moment when I was outside and I just broke down and started crying, looking at the sky. And this is the first time when as an adult or older teen when I properly spoke to God and I just said, I'm just please help me. I'm so scared. I don't know. Like I'd never been in such a mess in my life. And I was just like, just please help me. I'll give everything back to you. Just please help me like get good again and get out of this. And yeah, and then I just got myself back into the boxing gym, back into work, and then like, I think it was like 10 months later, I'd quit my job and started my business.
Amazing. And that's the Bardo Group is that's the business you
Yeah.
started, or through multiple
So it
ones?
was it was bit it was bit it was Beardo Media, and so I was like, so 2000 I was like trying to be a YouTuber, right? So I was like making YouTube videos, even when through this fucked up time, I was still making YouTube videos, kind of like laughing through the pain. But I was learning how to edit and do a bunch of things, and so uh, I was uploading to YouTube, and bigger YouTubers were seeing my content. They was reaching out to me, asking me to edit their videos for them. And I said yes. And then I was doing that as well as working full time, as well as boxing. Just had like a lot of stuff going on. And then eventually I got busy, like so busy, it was like difficult to handle. So I hired an editor, and then I was sending the work to an editor. I was still getting paid. I was like, aha, I can make money like this. And so
Mm.
October came around and I was like, okay, like this, like I've never been someone to like, oh, I'm okay at the moment. Like I was like, no, I need to progress because I was in so much debt. I was in such a fucked up way. I was like, I'm never going to be able to pay off this debt. I don't want to live this life either where I'm like earning like 1.5 to like 2.8K max. And then like what? I'm going to be living in some shitty fucking, room, driving some shit car, never being able to take any fucking girls out, never being able to dress nice because I'm paying out so much money on the mistakes that I made when I was 18. I was like, fuck that shit. And so I was like, okay, I'm quitting my job. And I had a lot of backlash from my mum. She's like, you're a fucking idiot. Why don't you just get your life together and blah, blah, blah. And look, I understand why she would say that because, my life was a mess and I was taking a massive gamble. But I saw that that step was a very necessary step, and I've always just took the gamble, to always gambled on myself, and always backed myself, even when I didn't know what was possible. And back then, like even though I'm like editing these videos for £50 a pop, I still saw myself as like a businessman, and I still like presented myself as a businessman because I always had it in here. I just weren't physically there. And so and yeah, and then I went on that journey. And that was in 2000 October 2019.
Yeah. So what's that? 6 years
So
ago? 5 years ago?
yeah, and yeah, 6 years, well, five
Coming up.
5 years and 2 months or something. And yeah, so that was when I created Beardo Media. And so that was about editing and this and that. So I went and shot a video one day. Someone asked me if I shot videos. I've never shot a video in my life, but I just said yes when I'd done it. So then we started offering videos, and then I started doing social media. And then I was like, okay, who do I need to work with to earn the most money? Then it was businesses. Then I became a social media marketing company. And then it was like, I was still like working, here and there in kitchens and picking up bits of jobs, scaffolding here and there just to help me because it was difficult to really get going. But when I was working with businesses doing the social media marketing, that's when I really understood like, okay, how am I able to help businesses? And I was like, this is what I'm thinking. I'm like, okay, I need to make them videos. I need to do social media. I need to market them good. But then as time went on, like I then went to Ibiza where I met you. And no, I didn't meet you in Ibiza then, did I?
We met in London. We
No, I
met
met you. I remember. No, yeah. And then yeah, went to Ibiza with no money, £300 in my pocket. Was only supposed to be there 3 days. Ended up staying there for like 4 months because I grinded it out. And that's when I went. That's when I actually went full time into being like social media marketing agency. That's when I was like, oh, okay, shit. Like, but I worked. I've never worked so hard in my fucking life. Like everyone, I mean, people still talk about it till this day. When I was in Ibiza, and they used to see me sitting in the social club, fucking editing 12 in the morning till 12 at night, just editing, then shoot, work. Like I was going for it, staying in some shitty fucking hostel. But you know what? Though it was just, it's just such good memories. Even though I know it was so tough at the time, it was such good memories. But yeah, anyway, I came back to England because I had a court case because I punched a guy in the face. It was a paedophile story. And then that was done and fine, got a fine, whatever. And then yeah, I went into boxing and I was like super depressed. And I was like, I don't like living here. Went into the championships, I boxed, but I was just like, I wasn't depressed in a bad way, but I was like kind of like just down all the time because I hated my environment. I hated not having money. It was so difficult to like pay my rent and whatever. And then yeah, I got like a big job come through and I got evicted, like literally big job come through, got evicted. And then I had a choice. I was like, am I gonna like what am I gonna do? Like, am I gonna go put all my money into an apartment? Or am I gonna go fucking take the risk and I'm gonna get a flight to Barcelona and go fucking sell myself? So I took the flight to Barcelona. And I'm walking around, going to offices, doing all that shit. I fly back to England like 2 weeks later for my mate's stag do. And then I even have to say, oh, Jordan, because I had to pay a bit of money for the stag do. I was like, I don't have it right now. I just need to get back to the UK. Like, can you like pay and I'll pay you when I get there? He didn't like it, but he was like, yeah, okay, cool. But yeah, so I did that, went back. Then I hosted my first ever event because I was like, I need to find a way to get clients. And I'm like sofa surfing, by the way, like literally staying at people's houses, like just, can I stay with you? Because I don't have a place and I'm just fucking off the cuff. Anyway, get an opportunity to go to Cyprus for a job. I go to Cyprus, I land there, I get the job, and then I stayed there for a couple of months, getting other jobs on the island. And then I went to fucking Ibiza again. And then I'm sorry, before I went to Cyprus and when I was in England and I hosted my event, that's how I met Ravi. And Ravi invited me to do an interview where then I met you. And that's where I also met Pete for the first time as well.
Yeah.
It's all, it's all making sense. Anyway. And then, yeah. And then, anyway, I'm back off Cyprus, Ibiza, and then I go to Sweden because of a girl, and then I end up staying there for a year, and it's in Sweden where I started working with tech companies and started like really understanding, okay, like the highest form of value for companies and businesses isn't videos. Video, like it's not videos. It's about helping businesses make money. How do you make money? Bringing them clients. And so that's what I really dove into. And then I dove into the events, dove into the lead gen, I dove into all of that stuff. And I just went fucking ham. And then literally, as soon as I got my first little bit of money, like literally, as soon as like I weren't like all bills were paid and I had a little bit of money, I invested it straight away into a mentor, Pete. And then he helped me scale up massively. And then literally I moved to Sweden in July or June, July. And then literally by May, I moved to Dubai.
Incredible, mate. That's a powerful story. Very lots of ups and downs. Lots of ups and downs. One thing I wanted to ask you is, where do you feel that ability to take that risk comes from? Because not many people will be willing to take the risk and to dive into those opportunities because of the comfort of home. Where do you feel like you get that ability to take that risk from?
Well, yeah, it's an interesting point that you said people don't take a risk because they're comfortable. I weren't comfortable. I was trying to look for comfort. And like what I felt like it was so painful and unbearable for me, I would have slept on the floor of any place of a toilet or whatever just to fucking make things work. Like I was willing to do what no one else was willing to do. I would put myself in the shittest situations, take the least just for the opportunity to just be elsewhere. Like so, me taking the risk is like, what the fuck else do I have to lose? I would rather be there and something fucked up happened and know that I just took the chance than be there.
100%, mate. Powerful. You give me tingles your stories, mate. Yeah, I resonate a lot with it, with the that risk taking and having your back against the wall. It really is. There's no other option but to move forward. You know, you haven't got any other way out, and it seems like that story resonates with me massively, and I'm sure it will with a lot of the people listening as well. So I'd like to segment onto the next section, which is you've told us where you were and where you are now and how you got there. I would love to dive into a little bit more about you and your daily routine. So, what are the sort of daily non-negotiables that keep you operating at your highest level?
Yeah. So my daily non-negotiables are workout every day, prospecting every day, and client delivery. Like those are the three most important things because they're the things that move the needle. You have to work out because that does so much for your health and your mental health, your emotional health. And then prospecting is going to make sure that the money's coming in, and then delivering the work, make sure that you continue being paid. Like those are the three most important things. And so what I learned about routine was like routine's so important because in order to be like successful, you need predictability, right? Yeah, there we go. In order to be successful, you need predictability and you need to be able to predict things like predict when you're going to get a client, predict when something's going to happen. It's all about predictability, even in stocks, crypto, making business decisions, investments. It's all about predicting the future and predicting what's going to happen. So the reason why having a routine is very important is because when you structure a team to support your goals, you you set your life up so that you're predictably making progress in the areas that you want to make progress.
Yeah, definitely. So those three things are your non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables every day, apart from Sunday.
Apart from Sundays. And what
But
what do
trust me, when I was grafting it out, there weren't no fucking Sundays off every day. Like this is why sometimes when people come to me, yeah, and I'm mentoring some guys, they're like, oh, but my day's a bit busy. I'm like, bruh, I'm like, I have to remind myself to take fucking breaks. Like when I was like, because I can get so into it, but when I was like coming up, when I was trying to get to somewhere, yeah, there wasn't anything that I wouldn't do to move forwards. Like it went about Sundays off and this and that. I had a day off when I was burnt out. That's when I would rest. And I'm not like, look, there's going to be like health experts that are like, no, well, that's not healthy. And, really, you should have blah, 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 blah. Well, you're saying that in the fucking comfort of probably your mum's house. So shut up. Like I was fucking crafting my fucking ass off, doing whatever it took to get to the next level. So we can sit here and say, well, it's not healthy and well, this and that and blah, 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 blah. Look, I ain't no fucking health advocate. There's someone out there that will, educate you on being healthy. I'm here to educate you on getting results. And if you want to get results, you need to fucking push yourself to the limit. And that's exactly what I was doing. Now I'm completely different. I make sure I'm getting my sleep. I make sure I'm having a day off. I make sure to have fun. I make sure that I'm also connecting with people and making sure that I'm keeping my connections strong. Like I'm a different person now. But when I was really trying to get up and get out that hole that I was in, everything it took.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that's a powerful lesson for people to take because society definitely tells us that we need to take these time off and when we're trying to build something big, all of the people who have achieved success, they all say the same as you. What you've just said there is that it takes 14, 16, 18, 20-hour days, with very little sleep to get past that momentum. And then once you're out there, that's when you can balance it
Yeah.
back up. So
Yeah, but
yeah, go on.
sorry, go on. Well, it's like it takes that at first because you need to do so many different things because you don't know what works at first. You need to find what sticks. And when you're finding what sticks, you need to do everything at once. Do as much as you can. But then, when I'm in a position now, I'm like, okay, I know what works. I can do this, I can do that. You can then make data driven decisions. And you can, then be like, okay, I don't need to do this, I don't need to do that, I need to do this. But when you're trying to make it work, it needs to be everything, all out, all guns blazing, shotgun approach until you get somewhere.
100%. So the next question I'd like to ask you, mate, is how do you, at the moment, this is, and also throughout your life, but how do you, when stress, self-doubt, distractions, limiting beliefs, all of these negative vices and old subconscious programming, when all of these things sort of come in, how do you sort of handle that at the moment? Have you got any structures, any routines, any things that you're doing to handle that stress, to overcome that mind that's telling you maybe the self-doubt? How are you dealing with those kind of things at the moment?
Yeah. Okay. So stress, self-doubt, I'll address these two things. That's what I took from what you said. So I'll go with the stress first. The stress first is at the moment, I'm probably not as on the ball with like my breath work, my meditation, my journaling. I'm not as on the ball with that at the moment, but that's like definitely a very good go-to when things are like intense. But at the minute, like literally as of this week, even today, I've actually been quite, I don't want to say stressed, but there's been a lot of things I can tell that I'm getting a bit pissed off by things. And I just, from me feeling frustrated, like I can tell what kind of state I'm in because things don't usually frustrate me that are frustrating me. And there's this that's going right now. I can feel it building. And so the best thing, like for me, like this morning when I woke up, I said a prayer. I just made sure like I was grateful and saying thank you. And I just sat in that for a moment and just took some time. And then it's like for me right now, I'm just being mindful, like, okay, these are the thoughts I'm having. I know what I need to just dial into my sleep a bit more, need to just take some time to do absolutely nothing, sit down and be present. And then also it's about like journaling, just making sure I'm processing, emotionally regulating myself, and staying on top of myself. But I do just think it's about like awareness. So that's for like the stress and like maybe getting annoyed or frustrated. And then
Yeah.
like the doubting yourself. It's literally when you doubt yourself, like there's all right, so like I don't know 100% if I'm going to be successful. Like I don't, like it's impossible, but I have to have the belief. And even if like it's not true, but true belief, I just have to tell myself it anyway. And so like I do believe 100% more than ever that I'm going to be successful. Like this last year has given me so much confidence. Like, and now I know how to do something. Like where before there was a lot of question marks, I wasn't sure. But then once you start seeing the results from something, then you're like, oh shit, okay, this actually does work. I know this system now works. I back it 100%. But when at first it's all theories, and so that comes with like experience, time in the game. I had mentorship from Pete as well. He told me a lot of great things that helped me. And then all of that together, plus results equals confidence in what I'm doing. And like, you know, and so yeah, the self, and now I know I would be very, very successful. Before I was saying I was going to be successful, but maybe it was more like just me saying it because I wanted to be. But now I know I am going to be 100%. Like I genuinely really believe it now because I've seen what I can do. Does that make sense? But yeah, when it comes to self belief, I think it starts off as self delusion. 100%. Just delude yourself. There's no harm in it. And then yeah, like so, I like to imagine that I'm walking in space, like abyss, like just there's absolutely nothing around me. I'm just in the air and I'm walking blindfolded, so it's even more scary. And there's no set path in front of me, and I'm scared and I'm anxious and I don't know what's going to happen. But each step I take, there just happens to be a block there for me to stand on. Each step that I take, each step, and each time I go to take a step, I'm so scared that there's not going to be a step there, but there is a step there. And that's how I see this entrepreneurial journey and like the journey that I'm on. It's like I just have to have the belief that there's going to be a step there. And so when I'm in a difficult situation and when I'm like worried and scared, and say if something happens or you know, like not long ago, I put myself in a bit of a silly financial situation. I had to make a lot of money very quickly to get myself out of it. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do that because I'd never made that amount of money in that short amount of time. But I just prayed to God and I just had to have faith and I did everything in my power, like that I possibly could. And then things worked out. I sorted the situation out. I was like, wow, like I surprised myself. But it was also like just having that belief in like there's gonna be a step there, you know? And so now that's really what I try to tell myself. And like when I do feel myself being anxious or I feel myself like having these feelings, like I just remind myself, like just have belief there's going to be that step. Just have belief that when I get to this place, this thing that I'm worrying about is going to work out.
Yeah, amazing. I think there's a couple of things that are super powerful there. Is that analogy is amazing for people to really take on, is to have that belief that there's always going to be someone or something supporting you on each step of the way. And well, I mean, that actually leads me on to my next question, which you've already alluded to, and you've already said it. If anyone's listening intensely, but yeah, do you believe in a higher power, of God? And if so, how has that
Yeah.
belief impacted your mindset and your success?
How has it affected my belief? It hasn't affected my like I've how has it affected my beliefs? So at first, though, I was just like, it's all me. It's just all me doing it. But as I've got older, I've chosen to. So I've always been like a bit. No, I became like quite spiritual. I definitely believe in like the universe, energies, and things like that. But as I'm getting even older, I'm focusing more on God because I've always believed in God. And now, as I'm getting older, and I understand God more, like first thing is as I get older and I want to have a family and like I want to have a wife and there's certain values and morals that I want my family to have. I can't rely just on my opinion to like be the morals and values that my family has. There has to be something greater than myself that I'm following that I can then share with my family. These are the morals and values that we're going to follow, not just like, oh, King Kai decided that these are my morals and values. No, it has to be something greater than myself. And number two, it's like now it's like, as again, now that I have more of an understanding about God and I submit to God, I understand that God gives you everything that you want. Like that sounds, maybe it sounds a bit bad, but God helps you in every situation. Like whatever you need, whatever you want, God is going to help you with it. Like, but you have to do the rowing and he's going to do the steering, right? And in terms of like how has he helped me in my journey, like I believe when I was at my lowest, like he really, really, really helped me and came away from him a little bit, but like went into more the spirituality side of things. But like I had so many moments when like I would just look at the sky and think about God and just like say thank you and like just being like total like gratitude moments of like where I was. And like even though like I didn't have a lot of money at a lot of different stages in life, I've lived a fucking cool life. Like I lived in a caravan, and then I was living in Ibiza, and then I lived in fucking Sweden. I lived in like I've done so much cool shit that I've always wanted to do, and like at each moment, like I may not have materialistically been in the best position, but I always remember in each chapter of my life, just like always at some point, just sitting there in total gratitude and just being like, wow, thank you so much for my life. Like I lived such a fucking cool life, you know? And so yeah, like how much has it helped me? It's helped me more than I know. Um, like consciously helped me. It's helped me more than I know. But now I know moving forwards, it's gonna help me like be number one, a very good person. Number two, um, you know, it's gonna help me accomplish like all of my goals. And number three, eventually when the time comes, it's gonna help me be like a good like family man and a good dad when that time eventually comes.
100%, mate. Powerful, powerful. The next thing I wanted to ask you was your mental model. So you've, I think I know what you're going to say to this anyway because of knowing you and everything that you've just said on this podcast. But I would really love to know what philosophies or what mental models, and to follow that up, what people have really been the biggest influences. So, what philosophies, what mental models have helped you get to where you are now? And then to second that, what are the one or two biggest influences people in your life? That can be from the past or to the present, right? That right day now.
Yeah. So the mental models, it depends what situation I'm in. The mental models change because I can be calling myself, I can be saying to myself, don't be a pussy. But then there could be another situation where I'm saying, it's okay, Kai, like you've did your best, take some time. Like tomorrow's another day. Don't be hard on yourself. Like that, I can go from calling myself a pussy to also saying, don't be hard on yourself. You did your best. What can you do better next time? So the mental model like always changes. You need to adapt. Like whatever conversation you're having with yourself needs to match the situation that you're in, you know? And you just always need to make sure that it's a supportive one. Like even if you're calling yourself a pussy or saying, I need to fucking sort my shit out, that's still supportive, you know? Um, in my opinion. And so, like
100%.
the mental model needs to be that you always adopt a mental model in whatever situation you are that's going to support you in that situation. Because I've been in situations where I'm like, just I just need to fucking make it to the next day. Just keep on going, Kyle. I just no matter what, I know it hurts so much right now, but this is one day you're gonna make a movie about your life. And I tell myself mad fucking stories. This is all fucking movie. This like you was made for this. They're gonna make a movie about you one day. And this like all these things I'm telling myself just to keep fucking going. But then there's other times when I'm like, don't delude yourself. Be real. Look at things. Observe the behavior. Look at the reality of the situation. Take some time. Be still. You need rest right now. You need to be soft. You need to connect with people. You need to be emotional. You need to drive to the desert and listen to emotional music and cry. You've got so much emotions right now. Look after yourself. Go and have that moment to yourself. It depends. Like there's no one set model. It needs to be adaptability all the way. You need to adapt to the situation you're in. Make sure that whatever mindset that you have isn't subtracting from you. Make sure it's always helping you in that moment. And then to answer your question about who are the people that I've looked up to, there's many people that I look up to at different times. But to name a few, so number one, my boxing coach Frank. I looked up to Frank, and I still look up to Frank a lot. He's like a dad to me, and he's been there for me since early when I was very young in the boxing gym and had like behavior problems. I'd get kicked out from the boxing gym, and he would speak to my main coach and be like, "He's a good kid, like just give him time," because he related to me. He was always there for me. He gave me the time of day, and he always understood me. And we've always had a very close bond. And when he's training me, we'd still hang out. I know his family. Like I just go and spend time with him. Like he's just like he is my dad. And then the next person that I looked up to is my best mate's dad, Lee Tolan. He's like a successful businessman, and he went from absolutely nothing, being like he was like addicted to drugs and like he was doing all fucked up shit when he was young, and he changed his life around. And now he's worked hard. He's got like many amazing businesses, amazing fucking house, and he's just done so well for himself, and he's come from nothing. Another person that I look up to is someone called Bedros Keuilian. He's an online entrepreneur. He does like men's work, and he is from Armenia. He went to America, and he started from nothing. He was molested when he was young by some guys, and like he's dealt with himself, and he's pushed on and become a very successful person. Another person that I look up to is Wes Watson. He went to prison for like 10 years. He was involved in like a lot of fucked up shit, but he basically found that his habits and daily routine is what kept him going. And like he validated himself on the things that he's doing. And he managed to turn like all the pain he was going through into like positivity. And he came out and he became a multi millionaire, you know, only a couple years after coming out of prison for 10 years. Another person I look up to is Andrew Tate. The reason why I look up to Andrew Tate is because I actually relate the most to Andrew Tate. He comes from a council estate just like me. His dad was living in America. He's just living with his mum. And he went into kickboxing. Like he comes from nothing and he figured things out for himself. Like he's a self-made man, like the same with his brother. And they came together and they worked fucking hard to get to where they get to. And a lot of things he says make sense for me. And like, I know there's like this, oh, Andrew Tate, but like I don't look at all of that shit. Like his story is so inspiring to me, and so many millions of other fucking kids and men around the world. Like that, I'm like, like the fact that he comes from where I'm from, like that gives me so much like energy when I watch him. And that's almost like what I want for people like where I'm from. I grew up in a fucking council estate. I didn't have any fucking dad. I grew up in a fucked up situation. My mum was on benefits. Like I grew up like in the exact same situations, and I know where I'm going now. And I want to show other people like this is what's possible, because people back where I'm from, they don't have a mindset of like, oh yeah, I can do whatever I want. I can be successful. They don't think that. They just like they think that they're just confined to where they grew up. They just think like their path is already set for them. This is just it. But it's not. They can do whatever they want. And like I want to be living proof of that. Just like so many other people are motivational to people in people's lives. And then yeah, there's a lot of other people that I look up to as well, like people that I've worked with, clients. A lot of my clients I get along with very very well, and they have similar stories where they're self-made people. And something that I really really respect is in people in general. You don't have to be from like some fucked up background, but there's two things that I really, really respect in people, and it's skill and it's hard work.
Yeah, 100%. And it seems like anyone who has done those things has had to go through that difficulty and then go through the hard work to get through that pain and that struggle. And yeah,
Yeah.
your story and everyone that you've just mentioned as well, I resonate with many of those who you mentioned, and all of them have similar stories, right? No one's done anything good unless they've had to go through difficulty.
I forgot the biggest person, fucking Pete Taylor, bro. Like,
I was gonna say,
sorry,
I was
Pete, if you
waiting for
did watch this.
that.
I
Yeah.
just, I just completely just didn't listen. Yeah, Pete. Oh man, I started calling him dad as a joke, because like he has been like I felt like I was such a kid when I met him, even though it was like, oh, it was over a year ago, but I felt like I was so immature when I first met him. Oh man, Pete has just fucking changed my life. Like he's just, I have so much fucking respect for that man. Like honestly, I would fucking take a bullet for him. Like no matter what it is, I will be there for him, no matter what. Like I just can't even put it into words. Like how much like one man can change your life. Like it makes me feel a bit emotional, to be honest, because he just helped me so much. And I've gone through shit, and I mean yeah, I know that I'm paying for it, but it's like he just still fucking you know yeah, like he's just a fucking good man, and he just helped me so much, and I look up to him. And I've seen him change over the year, and for the better. And I've seen him adapt and him learn about things, and I trust him fully as my leader, and I look up to him massively as well.
Yeah, amazing. And I've met Pete personally as well, and what an incredible man. So you've got some great guidance there as well, which is beautiful. So there's just a couple more questions I want to ask you before we wrap up the podcast. The first one is me personally. Something that's helped me was relearning, retraining, and reading again, like learning all of these new information. Now I know you're quite an avid reader as well. Have you give me just one of the most powerful books that you have read or that you feel would benefit someone who's in a similar situation to you were when you first started this journey and would help them.
There's a lot of good books, to be fair. Like it really depends. Like there's not like the first book I ever read, I felt like was really impactful for me. But I don't know if that's just because I'd never read a self-help book before. Like, so
What was that book? What was the book you read?
it was called Rich. It was called Rich, and it was basically by this hypnosis guy, and he put on this hypnosis thing, and it was all about like how to become rich, abundance and blah blah blah. If I read it now, I probably thought it was too airy fairy. But
Yeah.
um, the book 10x is the same as 2x. That's a very good book. It basically explains how like when a lot of people try to double their wage, like they're like, okay, I want to earn double what I'm earning now. But really, like you can 10 times your wage. It literally takes the same amount of time and effort. Like that's a really good book because of the way it like puts things into perspective. And then there's like the 8 laws of the universe, which is another good book. It's more on like the spiritual side, but it was a good read. I remember like really enjoying that. Um, and then what else? I can't remember. I've read a lot of books last year though. I read more books than what I've ever. Ah, No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Powerful book, powerful book. I recommend that to
And
all of my
another,
clients.
yeah, another one. Sorry, it's all coming to me now. There's another book. It's by some guy called Gay Hendricks, and it's called The Big Leap. And it basically talks about your upper limit problems and basically how we sabotage ourselves when we come close to success. And it's just like, oh, it's a great book. Read it. It's yeah, good.
Nice, thank you, mate. One more question before we wrap it up, and I would love to know what your definition of success is. What do you feel your definition of success is?
And this is like personally what I think success is for myself or for everyone.
No, just your personal definition of success for everyone, not just your success, but what is a definition of success that you feel would, yeah, for everyone.
Yeah, I think it's like being worth a few 100 million, um, family, wife, kids, being happy, having time to spend with my family, and having a lot of happy memories with them.
Amazing. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to ask you is if you or if someone's listening right now and they are like you were maybe 5 years ago, 10 years ago, they're in the middle of the shit, their mind's going crazy, they're fucking depressed, they're going through it, right? They're overwhelmed, they're lost, all of these sort of things. What's the one thing you would tell that old version of you or that person to do to turn things around and they can do right now to change things?
Just do the things that you know that you should be doing. You know
Nice.
what you should be doing and you know what you shouldn't. People just delay what they know that they should be doing. It's really simple.
Yeah.
It's really simple, but it's the hardest thing to do. Like that's it. Just do what you should be doing and don't do what you shouldn't be doing. That's it. The people overcomplicate shit like massively. As I've like become a bit more successful, I wouldn't call myself anywhere near successful. Well, I'm doing all right, but like as I've as I'm progressing and I'm doing more, I learned that things are actually more simple. You can simplify things massively. Like now, my routine is massively simple. Like I used to do all these little things, like just simplify everything. Everything is actually simple. Just people overcomplicate it. People are like, oh, there's this trick, and I know, oh, I need to listen to this guy. I need to spend £1,000 on this course to help me. You don't need to do that. Sit down, listen to yourself. What should you be doing? Okay, shouldn't be smoking weed. Shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I should stop doing that. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. And literally just listen to that inner voice because that inner voice is telling you all you need to hear. You're just fucking ignoring it. And that is literally it. Like just listen to that inner voice.
Brother, that's powerful. 100%. That little voice, it can work for you and against you, but it's always telling you that you're worth, you're meant for more, and it's always guiding you, even if it's subtle. So I can 100% resonate with that, mate. So yeah, well, listen, well that concludes our conversation, mate. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. Thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge and your mind as well with the audience, and just really getting an insight into how you overcome adversity, how you think about things, how you deal with things, how you take action. So thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. And
Before
honestly, bro, I just want to say while I'm here, like honestly, seeing your growth and your output, and just seeing you do stuff like I really respect it a lot, because I know a lot of people that are in your space, and honestly, I think that you're one of the most productive kind of coaches and breathwork coaches and in the self-help space that I've come across, and you're so willing to do stuff. You're creating content. You're up every day. You're doing the stuff. You're putting out your voice. You're speaking to people, and I really really respect that, because you're making change. And yeah, I notice your hard work, and I notice all the effort that you're putting into what you're doing. And with a newborn baby, with a family, and everything that you've got going on, I really really respect it a lot.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, that means a lot, especially coming from you. And yeah, we're in this journey together to help people grow, to help improve the world, and yeah, just to help bring our light to others. So that means a lot. It really does mean a lot. One thing I just wanted to share with everyone is where can people connect with you? Where can they learn more about you? How can they get in contact with you if they want to work with you? Just yeah, let everyone know where we can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and LinkedIn are the best channels to contact me. It's Kai Beard, Kaibeard. And yeah, just shoot me a message, even if it's not about work and you just want to connect over a call, share stories, or just have a chat. I'm always up for like connecting in a more genuine way as well. So yeah,
Epic, epic. Yeah, so we'll link everything in the notes and stuff, and I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this who are over in Dubai. So if you are in Dubai, yeah, drop Kai a message, meet him,
me too.
it's come to one of your events as well. You do a lot of your in-person networking events, which are incredible. I've not been to them myself, but from everything I see online, it looks amazing. And when I come over to
Thank you,
Dubai
brother.
in the next few months, I'll be joining. So yeah, once again, my man, I appreciate
Amazing.
everything. Thank you so much. Have an incredible evening, and
Thank you,
thank you
brother.